Alrighty, what is up, guys? Evan Aldo here. Appreciate you for joining me. Smash the like if you enjoy the content. Want to get into the latest with Bitcoin? After the dump we saw last night, want to show you what I've been doing. So basically, more in the flat market. Just been sitting in the kind of the swing shorts here. Had a Bitcoin swing short that's been in for a while. Hit first take profit finally last night, and then I entered another one with Bitcoin, another swing short or excuse me, day short the other day that did pretty well as well. There's also an ETH short in that didn't hit first take profit, but I believe it will as long as you're kind of patient enough. Hopefully, the market's getting a little bit more exciting now. It's kind of like watching paint dry, but it kind of worked out really well because I was on vacation kind of when it was just choppy sideways. So I'm kind of happy about that. Lucked out with that. So let's get into the latest analysis. So the thing that I want to show you guys first here is, kind of what the main thing, I've been talking about. And, if history repeats here, look, I mean, this came down in this kind of accumulation phase, from summer towards December, that area. Also, 2015 peaked out kind of in July, came down a good amount. Into August, it would be nice. Like, it would be really nice if we just dumped down, that third, rip the band-aid off 30 or 40% or something and come down to kind of those low 20s in the next month or so. That's the place. I believe. Oh man, I don't want to put words in nobody's mouth here, but I believe Garrett Soloway might have hinted when he was talking with Ben Cowan the other day that I don't want to. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I misheard this, but I think he was saying Bitcoin comes back to that like 20K area. That's like the area where you may get some prime real estate with altcoins. Altcoins may come down a bit more if that does happen. It might be a good buying opportunity potentially. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about more of the alts in a second, but yeah, I mean, ultimately bearish div. I think this kind of coming down more into the red is going to bring you down for that area and make that higher low that we've seen. I've talked about that a lot on this channel. Don't want to get too repetitive. We do have a monthly trend reversal sign. I kind of feel like after that monthly, this is interesting. Here, look at that monthly red dot in September 2015. After that confirmed, you were home free. After this one confirmed, you had a little bit more time, but essentially, you were close to that bottom there. Maybe it's kind of like where you get that trigger wave, maybe even a blood diamond or something here. Once that confirms and you kind of dump down to, low 20s again, then potentially you're home free. Now, let's get into a little bit of the lower time frames, 3-day as well. This would be the main trajectory. You follow this trajectory down to September, October, come down to these areas, essentially to these low 20s again. Now, let's get more into the short-term analysis right here. The thing I wanted to show you guys, like if you look on the daily, you got the red dot here. These EMAs are turning gray, similar how, the opposite of what happened here when they were turning bright and you jumped up, now they're turning gray. Like you want to kind of jump down. That's what it's kind of looking like here. But in the real short term, I mean, money flow looks like it could come down more on the 12-hour, real short term. We'll talk about the real short term in just a second. But money flow to could potentially come down a lot farther on a lot of these time frames. However, you're hitting a pretty significant area. It is an old volume area high, and you're getting kind of that double bottom. You're making a higher low there. You confirmed on your not on the 2-hour yet, but money flow coming up on the 2-hour. That's a bull div that confirms in 13 minutes. Oh man, you might be able to come up just a little bit higher here, maybe back to 29.2, something like that. And what we could do is to kind of estimate this. Let's try like a local kind of fib level or something. That's possible. 29.2 for that potential trade setup. I would say with the macro looking like it does, it may be a little bit risky to go long here. I mean, if you were trying to take profits there, stop loss under there, that may be a good play. It may be a good play. I would say you got above a 50% chance of getting it, but it could be a little bit risky with how the macro is, how everything's kind of looking overall right now. Money flow coming up on the 22-minute may cross into the green. Not a bad sign there, in my opinion. Overall, however, you get down, it looks like almost money flow wants to come down a little bit farther in 10 minutes. Just a 10-minute, though. That doesn't mean too much. I'm just curious, like how the 3... Ooh, maybe that trigger wave on the 3-minute, that could be a good try to jump up to 29.2 to that golden pocket I was talking about just a second ago. That's what I'm looking at for the very, very short term for Bitcoin right now. But on the more grand scheme of things, and two, the other thing I wanted to show you on the higher time frame I forgot about, red dot in the 2 week, I mean, that's typically, a pretty decent sign of, coming down. And if we do kind of break down from, if we break down from kind of this, I'm trying to like find a pattern. There's no like significant pattern. I don't know, rounding top or something. Maybe you could argue like round it. We got a rounding top right here, and then you break down from that. Ooh, right down to that spiral line. So 27 could be a decent goal for the next few weeks into August. Volume area low right there, which is a pretty significant place at 26.2. If you lose 26.2, theoretically, your next significant place could be, I mean, you could do a technical target from the volume area high right there, kind of breaking down from that parallel channel that may form. That's going to be right around 24. You got these guys here. These little spiral line pockets right there, which could also be pretty significant kind of going forward. So yeah, let's move on to Ethereum. So Ethereum obviously is a lot of the same. Generally a lot of what we've seen. Red dot confirmed on the weekly. I just wanted to look at the 2 week quickly here. Yeah, the 2 week here, red dot looks like potentially with that money flow. I mean, how would you approach this if you saw this on the 4 hour or even the 15 minute or 12 minute? I mean, more on the bearish side, more on the bearish side, and hopefully what we've seen in history, Ethereum could continue to kind of bleed against Bitcoin for a good buying opportunity. If we do, kind of come down farther, and what I'm looking at here, you got that blood diamond on a 20 hour, like this came down to this area. That could bring us down, into the end of August or something. That was 16 on the macro. That's 1600 or something for, the lower the merrier for buying opportunities. The lower the merrier. I mean, even if you think, Ethereum's going to get, to get a 10x with 1600, you're going to need a 16K Ethereum. I think that's a bit of a stretch. But an 8K Ethereum, a 10K Ethereum, okay, that's kind of a reasonable goal for next bull run. If we could get down 1200, you may be able to get close to a 10x. Maybe you get up to 12K. Who knows? The next bull run. But 16K, I think that's a little bit of a stretch. We'll see, though. You kind of have some snake eyes there. More of the short term to potentially come up a little bit. Sure, we're probably hitting some fib level, some local fib level or something. So short term, you may have a shot. Yeah, 1850 seems like a potentially significant place where we want to maybe look here, where 1858, that big pocket could be significant. I mean, obviously 1848 could be significant as well, but that pocket for the short term is what we might want to be looking at, especially with some of those snake eyes there. In this environment, I'd probably be more inclined to go long on Bitcoin than Ethereum, just because Ethereum generally keeps it bleeding against Bitcoin. Probably doing a little bit too much going beyond time frames, but just like Bitcoin, I mean, gray EMAs, like it wants to come down. See, gray to brights up, bright to grays down. Could take some time though, but that is generally kind of what I'm looking at for Ethereum. For the more bullish case, maybe we get that bull div on the 6 hour here and potentially get some a little bit of relief there. You're not really seeing it on the 4 hour just yet, but could be that little relief from that. What I wanted to show you, I'm just curious about, Ethereum, Bitcoin through this kind of drop down. Yeah, you're seeing this start to kind of, want to continue its kind of way down here. And it definitely doesn't look too terrible, but I think, when you get up to, it doesn't look as bad as some things like Total 3, I'll show you in just a second. But when you get to certain, gapped RSIs, red dot, looks like you want to come down farther. Looks like, I mean, you do have the weekly bullish div that was confirmed. That's a bullish case, but if we look at what happened ultimately in September here, coming down, that was the bottom there. Maybe, this blood diamond, these two blood diamonds finally play out. We mess around with this area, potentially even break down farther there. I know it is a big drop down, but Ethereum, I believe, if Bitcoin goes down to, let's say Bitcoin corrects down to, this is a 24% correction down to like 22K. Ethereum could, bleed a lot against it. Ethereum could bleed a lot against it with just coming down to, where is it from where we are right now? Just coming down to just coming down to around 1200. That's a 30%. Or if you come down to around 1100 again, 40% versus, what was the trajectory there? Gotta have some short-term memory loss right now. 25, yeah. So I think it's going to bleed. Yeah, I think it's going to bleed against it pretty significantly. I mean, And that's kind of, when you get down to these areas, I think if we could retest this kind of in our kind of Wyckoff accumulation phase that we've been in for this, wrong chart, right there, that kind of coming down, gapped our size coming down, so that's that potential. I know with the Wyckoff, a lot of times the third one down could, moving that, could bring you down like to a lower low sometimes. I'm not really seeing that, but subject to change, I'll take it. That would be nice if we could get in a lower low for Ethereum. Kind of not looking very likely. I think the most likely outcome is probably 1200 if I had to kind of guess here. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to show you guys right now is Total 3, which has a blood diamond on the daily right here. If it plays out like this one, back down to kind of this area, $300 billion market cap, this is total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. If you're not familiar, like this one, kind of the same thing, down to that potential area. Now, this is where it could get interesting. This is where it could get kind of hairy for altcoins, because if you do come down to here, break down from there, you kind of have a technical target around the 200, a little above the $200 billion market cap area. I don't know if we're going to come that low, but it's something to look at if things do get, pretty ugly here and altcoins really get killed against Bitcoin. SEC is going after Hex. That's oh man, Hex is not like, we'll look at Hex briefly. I mean, Hex. I want to look at a chart with. Just give me a second here. I want to find the chart with a lot more data here. Here we go. I think because I want to, yeah. So in my, it's very hard for something. This was 98.8% down so far. Cardano went down, I believe, 98 point something percent down. The last bear market came all the way back and made a new all-time high. It's not impossible for this to come back, but you're on very thin water. I personally would stay away from it, but the gambler in me wants to kind of like throw some into this to see what happens, because that 98.8, like you'd expect some type of relief with all the bad news, some type of relief, but I'm personally going to kind of stay away from it here. I mean, you do have the weekly bullish div that's confirmed, but you kind of invalidated that. You made a lower low, so that's that. Absolutely could kind of go to zero here, as a lot of cryptos kind of do. Sell tokens. So we're seeing kind of the crypto market kind of cleanse itself a bit. This finally essentially went to zero, down. That wasn't even 99% from this area. That wasn't even an all-time high. This essentially went to zero. And yeah, that's what we're looking at right there. If we look at Bitcoin dominance, which would kind of coincide with that total 3 kind of going down, if this gets a little bit more of a jump, trigger wave right there, that was a nice jump. If we repeat kind of that trajectory for Bitcoin dominance, man, and you could get up to like 55, that's going to be, I think, prime real estate to start getting into alts, especially if we get this trigger wave too in the 3-day. Look at that. Look at that trajectory there, and just get that trajectory, get up to that area. People are talking about 60%. I think it's possible, but for getting into alts, my main goal here would be, see this area, this traffic stop right here, 54%, where price likes to stick. I think that's going to be like a good place where Ethereum could potentially bottom out against Bitcoin. So that's ultimately all the things I'm looking at right now. I mean, short term, I absolutely think you may have a decent shot with the long right here. This is going to confirm in maybe 4 minutes. I don't know if it's going to play out. I don't know if I want to take it. I did not take it. It's going to be a tough decision. Going to be a tough decision if I want to take this right here. Not a bad risk-reward ratio. I mean, probably got a good shot, but all part of the game. All that game of probability. If you guys want to see a course, want to learn more, I do have a course that a lot of people have really liked. A link down below. We're doing a 20% discount code down below as well over on evanaldo.com. You can check that out. Also, guys, if you want a good exchange to trade on, you don't want to use a VPN, check out FAIRDESK. Link down below. Anybody one person who signs up my link and deposits at least deposits any amount, even better, deposits any amount and does one futures trade, will get a $100 trading bonus randomly selected. Your odds are very good. We don't have like crazy hundreds of people signing up my link every single week. So check out the FAIRDESK link. MEXC is also pretty good down below. 0 limit fees down below. So check those out if you guys are interested in trading. If you are an experienced trader, obviously trading is pretty risky. Don't do it if you don't know what you're doing. All right, guys, have a good one. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like. Goodbye.